Hello and welcome back to another EDH deck tech video. I am still catching up on older decks. I have a plethora of mid-range slash casual decks that I've been playing for the past few months, and I'm going to go ahead and post some videos before I get to the essentially updated list of my quote-unquote good slash competitive decks. This deck here is for Oros the Avenger. This is a Dega combo-ish slash good stuff deck. I wanted to have a Dega deck in my library, so when I get better cards for the color combination, I can just improve the deck. So I started with this. It started with more of a semi-Voltron approach, but it has changed to creature-based combos. This deck runs a bunch. Now, the deck isn't exactly the quickest, and a lot of the combos, while they do have synergy, they don't always interact nicely, so this is not something I would be considered competitive, mainly because the combo speed is whimsical. But Oros is my chosen commander because I actually have about 8 different commander decks right now being piloted by dragons, legendary dragons, and that's just flavor for me. I love it. Oros here is not exactly the best of commanders, especially in these color combinations. Even something like the new Mathis would be an ideal replacement, but I like Oros. What he is a 3 white, black, red for a 6/6 flyer. When he connects to a player, I can pay 3 to do 3 damage to all non-white creatures. Some people like making jokes that he's a racist dragon, and it's funny. There's of course a pre-release. I also have the Jumbo Oros, and it's just a preference for dragons. Now, as I said, the deck is built off of combos with creatures. Let's go through the combos and the creatures first. There's the good stuff creatures. I'm playing a 3-color deck. Like my recent Croesus video, there is a slight budget in place I put on here, wherein out of the 37 lands, 30 of them are basic. So we have a lot of support to make that work. We have a Burnished Heart and a Solemn to help go get those. A generic good stuff creature for this deck is Discipleable. Sometimes I need a creature specifically in my graveyard, and this is a good way of getting there. And we have a Karmic Guide because it's a generically good reanimation effect. Sometimes I've entombed a creature into my graveyard and I need it in play. We have a Sidisi. This is one of many tutors in the deck. Usually the best way this works is to hold up a tutor or two until you draw in naturally to one of the combo pieces, so you then know which one to go for. Sun Titan is a generically good card. It reanimates, puts a fairly large percent of this deck into play just with its trigger. Now, Dualcaster Mage is the first combo in the deck. This combos with 2 cards, Twin Flame and the Heat Shimmer. So when they come up in the spells, I'll explain how that works, but he is the first combo part. Then we have a kiki-jiki. Kiki combos with a few things. The obvious ones being the natural cards you see in kiki-jiki decks. Combat Celebrant, Restoration Angel, this is not in, obviously, EDH Kiki, but in Modern. And the Zealous Conscripts. Any one of these 3 creatures plus Kiki can create a wing right there. We have Necrotic Ooze as the next combo enabling creature. Necrotic Ooze does a lot of stuff here, but my favorites to do with him is actually Mog Fanatic and Kiki-jiki. Having haste is nice too, so having this in the graveyard, and nice package, but in short, with Necrotic Ooze out, I can use the Kiki ability to copy Necrotic Ooze, putting another copy of Necrotic Ooze in play. If it has haste, then I can make infinite tapped Necrotic Ooze tokens, and they can all then self-combust and destroy all opponents. Again, having the haste in there is nice to give the natural Necrotic Ooze haste. Then we have another combo with the Izzet Chemister. Again, this is kind of why Anger is in the graveyard, and Necrotic Ooze. What I want is to have Necrotic Ooze in play. If he has haste, that's great. Then I want Izzet Chemister to be in the graveyard, as well as Phyrexian Devourer. What that means, the Devourer here has a fun ability where I can pay 0 to exile the top card of my deck. The ++ doesn't matter, that's non-relevant. So essentially, Necrotic Ooze has the ability to exile my entire deck. The fun wording here is the Izzet Chemister. He has haste. Obviously, he's in the graveyard, that's not important, that's why we may need Anger. He can exile an instant or sorcery from my graveyard, that's nice. This part down here, he casts any number of cards exiled with him without paying their cost. It doesn't specify down here that it has to be an instant or sorcery. It just casts the cards exiled by this card. So if Necrotic Ooze has that text box, he can then cast my entire deck because he got it. Essentially, this is just these guys put together with Necrotic Ooze. I can cast my entire deck. I do have to be able to tap it, so again, having haste from Anger is helpful. Those are the Predominant combos in the deck. Again, I'll explain the Dual Caster one when we get to the spells. Let's go through the spells now. We have Vampiric Tutor. Again, the deck has a plethora of tutors. Again, we don't want to just start tutoring for parts until we naturally draw into a part to start with. But Vamp Tute's ideal. Same with Demonic. And we have a Diabolic Intent. So the deck has a bunch of creatures. This basically could be Demonic Tutor if I have a creature out. We have Insidious Dreams. I love ranting on this, but this is great with Reforge the Soul, because with this being an instant, at the end of an opponent's turn, I can cast this, discard 3 or 4 cards. One card I can put on top of my deck could be Reforge the Soul, and then I just draw into a God Hand. It could be the perfect assemble to get whatever combo I need. We have a Gamble, because again, sometimes we just don't really care if it's in our hand or in our graveyard. We have an Entomb. And again, we have a bunch of combos that specifically want something precise in our graveyard. We have a Buried Alive, so if we have Necrotic Ooze out, we can literally just plug the 3 exact parts we need in there to win, with the Mog Fanatic Kiki route, or the Devourer / Izzet Chemister route. We have Cathartic Reunion as a way of putting more stuff into the graveyard specifically. Something like a Faithless Looting should probably be in here, and that's just something that it does need to be in here. We have Moonlight Bargain. This is a way of drawing cards and also putting cards straight from the top of my deck into my graveyard. So again, I could like top deck tutor something specific and then put it straight to the graveyard, or I could just fill my hand up. We have the Reforge, because wheels are good. Wheel of Fortune, of course, would be in here if I had enough to go around, but expensive cards are expensive. Reanimate, because 1 mana to reanimate a spell is fantastic. Dread Return. Again, a lot of my combo parts are creature-based and centric. For a while, I did have Morality Shift and the Goblin Dark Dwellers combo in here, so I can put my entire deck into my graveyard and reanimate the Dwellers and then get Yogg-Will, so I have my whole deck essentially. That's out. It's too slow. But Dread Return stayed because it's just a good reanimation spell. Torrent is fantastic because it gives the creature haste. If all my main parts like the Necrotic Ooze are in the graveyard, I can use this to reanimate it and give it haste. Same thing. This gives the reanimated creature haste, so that's very important for Necrotic Ooze combos. We have Yogg-Will to help rebuy everything we need. Obzidot's Aid is a generic reanimation spell that puts anything into play. I could put a land or an artifact. We have the 2 cards that go with Dual Caster Mage, Twin Flame and Heat Shimmer. Essentially what these are meant to do are to make a temporary token of a creature anyone controls or I control. So how this works, if this Dual Caster needs to be in my hand, I have to have some kind of creature in play or in anywhere or under my control that I target with one of these spells. This spell's on the stack, I retain priority. I cast and hopefully resolve Dual Caster Mage. The Dual Caster Mage can then target and copy one of these spells, which can target the Dual Caster Mage, makes a new Dual Caster Mage, which can target and make another Dual Caster, and target and make. Essentially, it makes infinite 2/2 hasty Dual Caster Mages, and this works essentially off of a 2-card combo. But these are also just generically good if I want to get a second Solemn trigger or something like that. Then we have some more just generic Dega good stuff cards. We have some Wipes and Toxic Deluge, Damnation, Day of Judgment, Decree of Pain. We have, of course, a Vampiric Tutor. So we can set up and treat the angels. This is just another way of, we don't always have to combo. Sometimes our combos are being answered. So creating a bunch of 4/4 angels is a good alternative. And same thing, the Army of the Damned here, just a mass token generating spell. These are my choices for alternate routes of winning, because the deck itself is not exactly tiered to go very fast, so I wanted a more a better presence as an alternate instead of a delicate combo. There's a few more enchantments here. We have land tax, a fantastic thing of running white, especially in a deck with 30 basic lands. This helps fix our colors very fast and make sure we don't miss land drops. We have a Animate Dead. For about a week I had the World Gorger Dragon combo in here, and it came out, but Animate Dead lingered. It's just a generically good reanimation spell. Same thing with Necromancy. We have a Fervor. Again, haste on the Necrotic Ooze is fairly important, and even giving Oros haste so I can attack fast is nice too. We have True Conviction. This is a remnant when Oros was more combat based, but this is a good alternative, just like the token generating spells. This is intended to make Oros the threat instead of my combo. And I'm actually a new trend I'm just experimenting with. I'm trying to put one uncommon Planeswalker in every deck I play. It's not like Planeswalker focused or mono red or something. This deck I chose Kea, the Ghost Assassin, mainly because I've had this shiny thing sitting in a binder for 2 years, and I wanted to give her some play. Essentially, she's just a bad draw discard effect. I like the idea of building Corona the False God with her, because I can exile Corona into my next turn so I can save Corona from betraying me. But in this deck, I mean, she's an extra draw, essentially, and she's not threatening enough to always warrant removal, and she can reset herself, so that's interesting too. I like this card. Like, I just don't think it's very impactful, but I do like it. Let's go through the artifacts. There is a Sensei's Top. I do have a single top deck tutor and Vampire Tutor, so I can make that a tutor to hand if I need to. But this is good for thinning and working the deck. And again, a lot of tutors in the deck, a lot of shuffle, so I can keep peeking. Sword of the Animist. This is a bunch of creatures in the deck, so I should hopefully be able to use this to ramp some crap out. Putting a Mog Fanatic on this is funny. We have Akroma's Memorial, just like the True Conviction. This is here to kind of make Oros the alternate route of victory. But of course, I mean, it gives the Necrotic Ooze haste. That's secretly why it's here. And then we have all the mana rocks. We have the Mana Crypt and the Soul Ring and the Bauble. 3-color deck, no green. This helps fix those lands. We have the Mana Vault, the 3 Signets, 3 diamonds, because I love my diamonds. We have this is a Chromatic Lantern. It's in Russian. It just fixes the colors. Again, this is a deck with 30 basic lands. That is done for budgetary issues, and I'm not really looking to invest in a bunch of lands right now. And that fixes that issue right away. And we have a Coalition Relic. Same thing. It's just a great color fixer. And finally, the Gilded Lotus. All the pretty acrylic Russian text. Finally, we have the lands. As I said, we have a 37 lands total. 30 of which are basic lands. And I've set this up like my Croesus deck, where I'm being a little vain, and I'm enjoying the fact that I can make a functional 3-color deck where all the lands that actually tap for mana are basic. So we have 3 fetches, the 3 on-color fetch lands. These could, of course, get a shock land, but they're not in the deck. This helps fix colors as well, as does these little budgety come-to-play tap fetch lands. And then we have 10 of each basic land. I'm using all these fun bolus lands. Ideally, if you like the idea of making a stronger, more consistent, more competitive combo deck, you need to invest a fair amount into your mana base. If you're looking for a more casual game, though, that's not necessary. Like, you don't have to run 100% competitive, like 100% perfected deck. And the best savings, if you're not wanting to financially invest in your deck, is the lands. Like, you don't even need these if you just want to get a command tower or something like that. I'm doing this out of vanity because I want every land in my deck to be, that's tapping for mana, to be a basic. Well, yeah, this is my Oros the Avenger. It is a creature-based combo deck. Oros himself does not represent any specific kind of EDH deck past a Dega dragon. I mean, it's legitimately a good stuff creature-based combo deck. I don't even think the word good stuff is applicable here anymore. But yeah, if I were going to actually make this more tuned and competitive with the intention of focusing on the combo, I would change the commander to Mathis for sure, because he's a 3-drop. He comes out, he can maybe draw me an extra card or 2 with his bounty counters. But I like the big derpy dragons. But yeah, I'm going to continue uploading my recent videos. If you have any feedback or ideas, I am always welcome. Thanks.